My dear students of class 7, welcome to you all. Today I like to discuss the topic new rules and the rulers, the last part. Now, in last class I discussed about the village administration, public works, taxes. Now highlight the key features of the Cholo architecture. In the Cholos was a great builder and their style of architecture was known as Dravidian style. They several types of followed at the time in the style of architecture. First of all, Garbhagriha. It is that tapering is the building tapering story upon story above the main deity. And Garbhagriha, where the main deity was kept. And this is the style, architectural style. And then Bimano or Shikhara. Bimano, the grand topmost tower with carved stories. Or Shikhar. It is actually in the temple. You have seen it, Bimano or Shikhar. Gopuram. Almost in every South Indian temple, you will find Gopuram. It is known as ornamented gateways. It is not actually just at the end, before you entering the temple, main temple, there are gopurams around the temple, on in and around it. Now, we see that in the Cholo architecture, I may mention the name of the famous Nataraja or dancing Shiva. Famous Nataraja or dancing Shiva, it is actually in the temple of Chidambaram, Chidambaram, Chidambaram. Now, in this way, we see that I can give you an example of Cholo temples, Brihadeshwar temple, Brihadeshwar temple, and Rajeshwar temple. Brihadeshwar temple and Rajeshwar temple. Next, we see that the emergence of Samantas or powerful local rulers. During this period, you see that all the Cholo rulers were very powerful. Under them, there are subordinate rulers. They are known as Samantas. They were famous warlords who provided the king military help during the time of warfare and paid taxes. These, that these local rulers are very powerful. Sometimes they are known as Mandalika, who often, they are so powerful, sometimes they establish the independent or powerful kingdom. So, this is the emergence of Samantas. It is actually, they are known, also Samantas are known as feudal lords. Practice of land grants. We know that the king often allowed the Samantas or local rulers to collect taxes. The taxes they collected from the peasants. The peasants and the artisans had to pay their production or produce as a revenue to the local rulers. And these taxes, the local rulers collected those taxes from the direct producers, and which were, you see that they used for the maintaining the army and also the entire staffs, you see that the armies and officials, etc. The Samantas also paid the king a tribute. Used to send taxes in the form of regular tribute to the king. King sometimes granted or offered land grants to those who actually were very loyal to the king. Sometimes for their extraordinary services, land grants were given. Lands generally, it was we have learned from the inscription, and while I discussed in the village administration, I have mentioned that in the inscription from Tamil Nadu, that is Uttar Merur, we have learned that there was a Shobha, which was very powerful at that time. So similarly, we know that we have found that this type of land grants were issued to the Brahmins. It was known as Brahmadeva, I mentioned earlier, and it was known as Brahmadeva. and sometimes the land grants were issued to the royal official who used to collect revenue. Now, the importance, it is the highlight the importance of revenue in a kingdom. We know that without revenue, see that it is very important source. We know to maintain the kingdom. We cannot run the administration. We can maintain the kingdom if we don't have any proper source of revenue. The revenues are collected from land, or sometimes it was collected from trade or agriculture and other sources. We see that we can see that the king imposed taxes on the subjects, various taxes, and similarly the king also collected taxes from agriculture, irrigation, and this type of taxes which they collected by the king was spent for the maintenance of palace, for the maintenance of buildings, and to carry on military campaigns and other activities. So we see that this is how, moreover, the revenue was also collected in the form of plunder. King plunder. Sometimes the king invaded the kingdom of other and plundered the wealth of other kingdoms. Similarly, so this is how, see that even the revenue was, sometimes they collected the resources from other territories. For example, the tripartite struggle. It was fought between Palas, Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas. The three powers fought for what? For the occupation of Kannauj. Why they wanted to occupy Kannauj or capture Kannauj? Because Kannauj was very rich in natural resources. So that is the reason. However, now next our topic, Sultan Mahmud. We have Sultan Mahmud was of Ghazni. He invaded India 17 times. 1000 to 1002 CE. 17 times, and his purpose was to only plundering of the wealth of India. He did not have any intention to establish kingdom in India. And why he invaded several times? He collected or looted resources which he used to build up his empire in Central Asia. Now you see that in several times, you see what was his target? He generally attacked the temples, plundered the wealth. He attacked Kannauj, Somnath temple several times, and also Thaneshwar, Mathura, etc. And thus we see that in this way he plundered the wealth of the cities, towns, and the temples. Now we see that what are other purposes? You know that he wanted to sell the horses of Ghazni, replacing the Arabian merchants. Initially, Arab merchants used to sell the horses in India. Now he wanted to replace them and bring the Ghazni merchants. Now, moreover, this is how we see that also plundering of wealth I just mentioned, and these are the intention, or these are the motives of Mahmud of invading India. He invaded India. He plundered the Somnath temple in the year 1205 CE. Now we see that why were the Turks successful in their campaigns? Why were the Turks successful? We know that his invasion resulted in what was the result of his Ghazni's invasion? He came through chain of mountains, which thus he paved the path. He facilitated the invasion of later the Turks invaded India. You know that the Muhammad Ghuri, 150 years after, and thus the path which he shown, that they invade through the Himalayan mountains or the chain of mountains, they easily could follow the route or path and thus arrive in India. And now we see that similarly we can see that the Turks gradually got the encouragement. The Turks are, you see that the leader was Muhammad Ghur. That is the, you know that Muhammad Ghuri defeated Prithviraj Chauhan in the battle of Tarai, second battle of Tarai in 1192. First battle was held in 1191. So it also helped the Turks to invade India 150 years after. So why were Turks successful? Turks was a great, you see that as a military leader, Muhammad Ghuri was one of the greatest military general. And however, the Turks were successful because they used new techniques in the warfare. We see that their horses were very powerful and they could move faster than the Indian horses. Secondly, they used iron stirrups, S-T-I-R-U-P-P-S, stirrups, which is actually the bridle in, you see iron bridle, which was hung from both sides of the horses, which were easily could move the horse and faster and etc. Whatever it may be, so, and moreover they were a good archer. They could we see that carry on the you see that attack through from the horses or from the back of the horseback easily, and that's why they are actually very famous soldiers. Moreover, we see that there was no unity among because although these Turks belong to the tribal group, while the Indians, you know that they belong to the different feudal groups, or is that naturally what is the difference between them? There was in the tribal groups there is a close knit in their blood relationship, in their ancestry, and naturally they fought unto the last. That is, the relation was very close, relation was very intimate. So naturally, while the Indian rulers who were allied, who also formed the alliance due to but it was among the different samantas, different local rulers who were not closely knitted, closely allied through their blood relationship. And naturally, we find they could not unite themselves in the battlefield, and moreover, their allegiance was to the military leader, and when the military leader was unable to lead the campaign, they are defeated. So this is how we see that they were successful in the Turks were successful in their campaigns. Now, next, so this is perhaps I have completed it, and thank you all, and thank you.